All right, let's jump right in. Today we're doing a deep dive into the world of mobile locksmithing in 2025.
Yeah.
And, we know our listeners are pretty familiar with the industry already, so we're
Mhm.
going to go a little deeper today.
Definitely.
We've got a ton of interesting information from reports and trends.
Hmm.
We're talking on-demand apps, mobile workshops that are basically like tricked-out vans,
Right.
and even locksmiths going green.
Absolutely.
And get this, they're becoming cybersecurity experts too.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how this industry is changing so much. It's kind of like what happened with, say, ride-sharing apps a while back.
That's a good point.
Convenience is everything these days, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But is it really like ordering an Uber?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about these on-demand locksmith apps.
Okay, sure. So imagine you're locked out of your car.
Wow.
Instead of having to dig through that old directory, you just open up an app
Oh,
and you see all the locksmiths near you, like right there on a map in real time. You can get an instant quote
that,
and then boom, they're on their way.
that's awesome.
And the payment's all done through the app, too.
Securely.
Super secure, yeah. No more digging around for cash.
I love it.
Hmm.
But are all locksmiths using these apps?
Well, it's definitely changing things. Some locksmiths are joining these platforms
Oh,
while others are even developing their own
that
apps.
makes sense.
It's really pushing everyone to get more tech savvy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of being there when you do with them, let's talk about 247 Act service.
Mhm.
I guess emergencies don't really care about business hours, do they?
No, not at all. I mean, think about it. A late night lockout,
Oh, yeah.
a break-in, maybe even a smart lock that decides to stop working at the worst possible moment.
Ugh, I've been there. So 247 service is obviously important, but is it something customers really care about?
Oh, it's huge. Studies actually show that response time is one of the most important things for people. Just
Yeah.
having that peace of mind,
Mm,
knowing that a locksmith is available anytime, day or night, that's really valuable.
totally. Okay, let's move on to mobile key cutting and programming.
Yeah.
I guess that means no more trips to the hardware store.
Nope, they bring everything to you. They have these portable key cutting machines in their vans.
That's wild.
They can duplicate even those super complicated transponder keys right on the spot.
Hold on, transponder keys.
Yeah.
Where are those?
Oh, sorry. So those are keys that have a tiny computer chip inside.
Oh, wow.
It communicates with your car's immobilizer system. If the code in the chip doesn't match, the car won't start.
That's really cool.
Mm.
So even keys are getting all high-tech these days.
Yep.
What about 3D printers for keys? Is that a real thing or is that just hype?
Oh, it's totally real.
Wow.
They use portable 3D printers to make keys super precisely.
Really?
It's actually faster and more accurate than those old school methods.
That's crazy. Does that mean we'll all be printing our own keys at home soon? Like, is it the next DIY trend?
Haha, not quite. I mean, 3D printing is getting more common, but there's a lot more to making a key than just hitting print.
True.
There are security things to worry about.
Okay.
Plus, you need special skills to make sure it's accurate.
Right, right. Okay, so I'm imagining these vans pulling up, packed with all these crazy futuristic gadgets.
Mhm.
Is that what these mobile workshops are actually like?
It's kind of like think organized chaos, but with a lot of high-tech stuff. They have all those tools for diagnostics and programming,
Hmm.
portable key cutters, and all these special compartments and storage systems to keep everything neat and tidy.
It's like a mini bat cave on wheels. But with all that fancy equipment, how do they keep everything powered up? Do they have generators and stuff?
A lot of them are actually going green.
Real
You're
well.
choosing hybrid or electric vans.
Oh, I love that. But how many locksmiths are actually doing that?
Well, sustainability is definitely becoming more important in the industry. Think about it. They're driving all over town.
Yeah,
Makes sense to be eco-friendly, right?
sure.
Plus, people are more likely to choose businesses that care about the environment these days.
That's a win-win. Oh, okay, so it sounds like they're not lugging around all that heavy old equipment anymore. What about the tools themselves? Are those changing too?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the tools are getting smaller and lighter, designed specifically for working on the go. And they're using software and digital interfaces for things like programming smart locks.
Oh, that's interesting. Speaking of smart locks, it seems like everyone's jumping on the smart home bandwagon. How are mobile locksmiths handling all this new tech?
It's a huge opportunity for them, but it's also a challenge. They need to understand all kinds of smart locks.
Right, from the simple ones to the really fancy ones.
Exactly, from basic Bluetooth models to those high-end systems that use biometrics.
Yeah, so it's not just about installing the lock. They need to understand all the features and how to troubleshoot problems right.
Absolutely. Plus, they need to be able to explain it all to the customer in a way that makes sense. Imagine trying to teach your grandparents how to use a smart lock.
Yeah, that could be a challenge. But it also builds trust, right?
Totally.
They're not just a locksmith anymore. They're like a consultant, helping people navigate all this new tech.
Right, and as locks become more connected to the internet, locksmiths are actually becoming responsible for cybersecurity too.
Wait, cybersecurity? Locksmiths. How does that work?
Well, think about it. If your lock is connected to the internet, it could be vulnerable to hackers, right?
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
So locksmiths need to understand the risks and know how to secure these systems.
So they're like cybersecurity experts with lock picks.
Yeah, kind of. It's really a sign of the times. I mean, as more and more things are getting connected to the internet,
Hmm.
security is becoming more and more important in every part of our lives.
This is all really fascinating. So we've got mobile workshops, eco-friendly vans, high-tech tools, and now cybersecurity too. What else can we expect to see in the world of mobile locksmithing?
One thing we haven't talked about yet is artificial intelligence, or AI, in security.
AI locks. Now that sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
They might sound futuristic, but think about a lock that can recognize your face or your voice and unlocks automatically. Or a system that learns your daily routine and adjusts the security settings based on where you are and what you're doing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, we definitely need to talk more about this AI stuff. But first, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back with more about the future of mobile locksmithing in 2025.
Sounds good.
All right, we're back, ready to unlock even more insights into the future of mobile locksmithing.
Yeah.
Before the break, we were talking about some pretty futuristic stuff. AI, talking locks, you name it.
It's crazy how fast things are changing.
It really is. So let's talk more about those AI-powered locks. What are the real-world applications? Are we going to be saying goodbye to keys completely?
Well, not necessarily replacing keys entirely, but definitely changing how we use them. Think of a lock that uses facial recognition.
Oh, wow.
You walk up to your door and it just unlocks. No more fumbling for your keys in the dark.
That's pretty awesome.
Or a system that learns your daily routines
Okay.
and automatically adjusts the security settings based on, where you are or what you're doing.
That's smart. But what about privacy with all this? I mean, if my lock is collecting all that data about me,
Right.
who has access to it?
That's a really good point. And it's something that manufacturers and locksmiths are thinking about very carefully. The key is transparency and control.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to decide what data is collected and how it's used. And of course, those security measures have to be really strong to prevent, unauthorized access.
That makes sense. So it's all about finding that balance between convenience and keeping things secure.
Exactly.
We've been talking a lot about the technology, but what about the human side of things? How are mobile locksmiths adapting their skills and training to keep up with all these changes?
It's definitely a lot of continuous learning. Locksmithing schools are including more technology in their classes,
Okay.
and there's a lot more focus on professional development and certifications.
Right.
Locksmiths have to be able to adapt and stay up to date on the latest trends.
So it's not just about being good with tools anymore.
Nope.
You need to be tech savvy, a cybersecurity expert, a customer service pro.
Pretty much.
That's a lot.
It's definitely a demanding job,
It sounds like it.
but it's also really rewarding. You're helping people protect their homes, their businesses, their valuables.
Yeah.
It's a vital role, making sure people feel safe and secure in a world that's, getting more complex all the time.
Definitely. Speaking of safety and security, what about emergency services?
Yeah.
What kind of situations are these mobile locksmiths responding to, and how is technology helping them do their job?
Well, I mean, the classic example is getting locked out.
Right.
You lock yourself out of your car, your house, happens all the time.
What?
But it's not just lockouts. They're responding to break-ins,
Oh, right.
damaged locks, smart locks malfunctioning, all sorts of things. And the technology really helps them work faster and more efficiently.
So they show up with their tricked out vans and all their fancy tools and cybersecurity knowledge.
Right.
It's like a mobile SWAT team for locks.
I guess you could say that. They're ready for anything.
That's pretty impressive.
They're trained to quickly assess the situation, figure out the best way to fix it,
Right.
and get things back to normal as fast as possible.
I could see how that would be so important in an emergency. You need someone who can think on their feet and solve problems quickly.
Absolutely. Experience and training are really crucial in this field. It's not something you can just learn from watching a few videos online.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about the business side of things. With all this new technology and everything, how is competition and pricing changing in the mobile locksmithing world?
It's definitely a competitive market, but technology is also opening up new opportunities to specialize.
Oh, interesting.
So some locksmiths are focusing on high security systems.
Okay.
Others are getting really good at smart home integration.
Hmm.
Some are even specializing in antique locks.
Really? So there's a place for everyone.
Yeah, from the tech-savvy entrepreneurs to the old-school craftsmen who, really appreciate the art of the trade.
That's cool. So as the demand for these specialized services grows, I guess we're going to see even more niche locksmiths popping up.
Probably, yeah. It's all about finding what makes you unique and offering really great service.
Makes sense. We've
Mm.
talked a lot about what's happening now and in the near future. But what about your wildest predictions for the next 5 to 10 years? What crazy innovations might we see down the road?
Well, if I had to guess, I'd say we're going to see even more integration with other smart home systems. Imagine your lock talking to your alarm system, your lights, your thermostat,
Wow.
everything working together seamlessly, controlled right from your smartphone.
That's pretty mind-blowing. It's like our homes are becoming these intelligent systems that anticipate our needs and keep us safe in ways we haven't even thought of yet.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll even see locks that can read our minds and unlock based on what we're thinking.
Okay, now that's getting a little too sci-fi for me. But I do love the idea of technology making our lives safer and more secure.
Me too.
But let's come back down to earth for a minute.
Right.
It's easy to get carried away with all the possibilities.
Yeah.
So let's wrap up this part of our deep dive by talking about what all this means for the average person. If I'm a homeowner or a business owner, what should I be looking for in a mobile locksmith in this ever-changing world? What sets the best ones apart?
That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, it's more important now than ever to do your research.
So we're back, and we're talking about how to find a good locksmith in this crazy world of high-tech locks.
It's a jungle out there.
It really is. Where do you even begin? Is it all about checking those online reviews?
I mean, reviews are a good place to start, but don't stop there.
Okay.
You really want to look for locksmiths who are, active in the industry. Like, do they have certifications? Are they part of any professional organizations? Things like that.
Okay, credentials are important,
Hmm.
but how do you know if they're keeping up with all the new technology?
That's where their website and social media come in.
Ah, okay.
Take a look. Are they talking about smart locks, cybersecurity? Do they seem like they're actually into this new stuff?
So it's like their digital resume.
Exactly.
But beyond the tech stuff, what about, how they actually are with people?
Yeah, the human touch.
How can you tell if their customer service is good?
Well, don't be afraid to ask for references. You can even see if they have any testimonials on their website.
Good idea.
And pay attention to how they talk to you when you first contact them. Are they patient? Do they listen to what you need? Do they explain things clearly?
It's all about feeling comfortable with them, right?
Eh.
Like trusting that they can handle whatever you need.
Exactly. And don't be shy about asking about their pricing up front. Are there any hidden fees? What's their policy on emergency calls? Stuff like that.
Transparency is so important. Okay, so let's talk about red flags. What are some things that should make you think twice before hiring a locksmith?
Well, one big red flag is if they're super pushy,
Okay.
trying to upsell you on services that you don't actually need. A good locksmith will take the time to figure out what's going on and recommend the best solution, not just the most expensive one.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about those prices that seem way too low?
Yeah, be careful with those. Sometimes a super low price means they're cutting corners or using cheap materials.
So it's better to pay a bit more and know you're getting quality work and peace of mind.
Absolutely. You don't want to mess around when it comes to your security.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have.
We talked about all the amazing new technology, the challenges that come with it, the exciting opportunities, and even the human side of things. What's the one thing you really want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is that mobile locksmithing is changing really fast. But the most important things haven't changed. It's still about trust, reliability, and expertise.
Finding a skilled professional who can take care of your needs, whether it's a simple lockout or a super complicated smart home security system.
Exactly. And, as technology keeps advancing, it's more important than ever to find a locksmith who knows their stuff, stays up to date on the latest trends, and is always learning new things.
Well said. This deep dive has been fascinating, and I feel like I've learned a ton about what the future holds for this industry.
Me too. It's been a great conversation.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of mobile locksmithing in 2025.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you learned something new and maybe even had a few aha moments along the way. And remember, whether you're thinking about upgrading your home security or just need a spare key made, choose your locksmith carefully.
Absolutely.
Until next time, stay curious and stay safe out there.